We're gonna go ahead and do slow flight here on our flight simulator. So I've got our sim paused. We're all set up here in cruise flight, so I'm gonna go ahead and unpause it for us. So I'm here in cruise flight, all set up for cruise, 7,000 feet, nice safe entry altitude. Now the point of slow flight is to fly the aircraft slowly while maintaining, your heading and altitude. Okay, we're gonna be flying on the back side of the power curve today with slow flight. So that means that we're gonna have to be holding our altitude with increases and decreases in power while maintaining our airspeed with pitch. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we get all set up. First, we would do clearing turns. I'm not gonna do clearing turns just to save time for the video, but we would, in real life, we would do clearing turns each direction. Secondly, we're gonna pick out our outside visual reference. So I'm gonna use this tall mountain out here in front of us, and I've got my heading bug set for my outside visual reference point. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to slow the airplane down so that we can get it into our slow flight configuration. I'm gonna bring this power back to about 2,000 RPM, and I'm just gonna trim the nose of the airplane back to hold 7,000 feet while I'm staying on my heading. Okay. As my speed starts to decrease over here, once I get into the wide arc, I'm going to start adding these flaps in nice and smoothly, nice and slowly to help me slow down. Okay, and I'm just going to add back trim. Now I'm going to fly it at 55 knots today. So at about 5 knots above 55, I'm going to start adding this power back in so that I can stay at that 7,000 feet. Okay. You see I'm constantly adding some back trim. I'm adding a little bit of right rudder here as well to slowly help the airplane slow down to that 55 knots where I can be in my full slow flight configuration at my slow flight speed. Okay, so we got our flaps in. Now I'm increasing my power and I'm increasing my back trim to stay at 7,000 feet and 55 knots. Okay. So here we are. I might have to add in just a touch more power. We've got my power in here. You can see we're at 55 knots. 7,000 feet. So this is how you get yourself into slow flight. Nice and smoothly, nice and easily. Okay. Now, like I said, we're going to be controlling our altitude with power. So if I need to descend, I'm going to bring power back, and I'm going to be using my pitch to hold my airspeed over here at 55. Okay. You see I'm keeping the ball nice and coordinated on my turn coordinator. I'm using just enough right rudder to keep that ball coordinated right in the center. All right. So it looks like we're climbing here just a little bit. I'll show you how we descend. We're just going to walk back a little bit of power, very gently, and I'm just going to trim to hold my airspeed. Okay, I'm using the yoke. I'm using my pitch to hold my airspeed right here at 55. We'll see. We'll get this. You'll see. We'll get this altitude to come back down here for us by decreasing our power, and then just holding our trim at that 55 knots. You see our altitude slowly coming down. Perfect. Okay. The other thing that they might have you do in slow flight is a couple turns. So I'm going to make a couple turns for you in slow flight to show you how to do it. I've set my heading bug over here at heading 300. So I'm just going to make this nice gentle turn. Now as I make my turn, I might have to add in a little bit of power since I'm losing some vertical lift here to hold my altitude. And I'm just doing still just a standard rate turn on my turn coordinator. Now it's not very much bank, only about 10 degrees of bank, because of how slow I'm going to keep that standard rate turn over to this 300 heading. As I get to that 300 heading, I'm slowly going to roll out nice and gently, readjust my power since I added some for the turn, and here I am 55 knots still at 7,000 feet. Okay? Now they might have you do a couple turns left and right, climbs or descents, whatever. That's all pretty easy. You just do it with the power and then trimming for your altitude. So I'm going to show you now how to recover. So for recovery, I'm going to add full power, and I'm going to start trimming the nose of the airplane down to hold 7,000 feet. You're going to see my VSI wants to climb because I added all that power in. So I'm going to start to trim the nose of the airplane down so I stay at 7,000 feet. Now as I'm trimming the nose of the airplane down, you're going to see my speed start to increase over here on my airspeed indicator. And as my speed starts to increase, I'm going to start walking these flaps out. Okay, I'm going to start cleaning my flaps back up again, continually adding forward pressure and forward trim to maintain my altitude. As my airspeed comes back up, we're getting up above 80. I'm going to bring my flaps all the way up so I'm completely clean, and I'm just retrimming the airplane here to stay at this 7,000 feet. As I get towards my cruising speed, I'm going to start to bring my power back, About 2300 RPM over here for my cruising speed, holding my heading, and I'm right back here in my cruise configuration, and we'll just gently retrim the airplane to stay at our cruising speed, and that's slow flight.